Hey everyone, Jake here from CVP. It's September, and that means one thing, that IBC is back, and with that comes lots and lots of announcements and product releases. And in this video, we're going to be talking through them, so grab a drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. Earlier this year, Blackmagic announced a bunch of new cameras and kit at NAB, and at IBC they released a new 5-inch monitor for these new cameras, the Pyxis Monitor. This new monitor is specifically designed for the Pyxis and URSA Cine cameras. It features a 5-inch 1080p touchscreen that has a peak brightness of 1500 nits. It actually uses USB-C for both data and power, which is really nice to see. It has 3 custom function buttons and can fully control the camera the same way you would with the regular screens on the cameras themselves. It can be purchased individually, with a top mounting system, or with an EVF position kit. Monitor only, it's just £323, which is actually incredibly well priced for something that has these specs and feature set. Ever since I first saw the Pyxis, I thought that it was missing a way to control the camera in a more solo operator configuration, and this is the solution to that. I think this monitor will be a no-brainer for anyone grabbing a Pyxis, and it's available to pre-order now on our website. Blackmagic also announced pricing for their upcoming URSA Cine 17K65. For the body only, it's going to be just under £28,000. That may sound pretty expensive, but you've got to think that really the only other camera like this currently on the market is the Alexa 65, and they aren't readily available to buy. So when you put it in that context, I think the price could be justified if it can produce the images we hope it can. What do you think of the price? Let us know in the comments below. We also now have the URSA Cine 12K in the studio for some testing. So please let us know down below what tests you want to see, whether you're interested in it, and any questions that you have. And lastly, Blackmagic released DaVinci Resolve 19 last month, and at the beginning of this month they released 19.0.1, which fixed a few issues that people found with the initial release. Sony have announced a bunch on the lead up to the show this year. First off, they released a range of new firmware for a few of their different cameras. This included the FX6, A7R5, and probably most importantly the FX3 and FX30. All of these cameras have received a range of new features and updates, but probably the most important one is the FX3 and FX30 receiving shutter angle. It's great to see this finally become available, as I know it's something that people have been asking for ages now with these cameras. It's available to download now on Sony's site, but I've put links to everything in the description below. Up next, they announced the HTC P50A, their latest 4K camera system. This new system uses a 3-chip 2/3 inch 4K CMOS global shutter sensor that looks like it can deliver good-looking broadcast quality imagery. It has a mix of outputs for different production needs, including SDI, IP, and fiber. It can capture high frame rate well too, with up to 8 times slow-mo in HD and up to 4 times in 4K in the right configuration. Its small and light body has been designed to allow the camera to be mounted into tight positions or using smaller support equipment while still delivering image quality that will cut well with existing Sony broadcast cameras. Next, they announced 2 new 16.5-inch 4K TriMaster monitors, the BVM HX1710 and BVM HX1710N. These are aimed at live production and critical image viewing and evaluation scenarios. The monitors share a lot, but the key difference between them is that the N variant features SMPTE 2110 IP support. Otherwise, they both feature SDI and HDMI inputs, use Sony's latest dual cell technology, have a wide viewing angle and a peak brightness of up to 3000 nits. They'll be available next year around the summertime. Just before IBC, Sony announced the new 85mm f1.4 GM2 for their E-mount systems and the Z200 and NX800 camcorders. Long story short, the 85mm f1.4 GM2 is a modern 85mm lens that can shoot clean, detailed imagery while providing fast autofocus for photo and video, and an improved manual focus experience thanks to the improved focus motors. It's also smaller and lighter than the older version. The Z200 and NX800 are Sony's latest camcorders and are very similarly spec'd apart from the following that the Z200 has and the NX800 does not. They both feature a compact and easy to use pick up and shoot design, 20 times optical zoom with the option to extend that even further with Sony's clear image zoom, can shoot 4K up to 120 and HD up to 240 frames per second, can record in a range of XAVC formats, feature updated color profiles such as S-Log3 and S-Cinetone, have new improved AI-driven autofocus systems, and they have a bunch of user-friendly design features, including Sony's excellent 2 to 7 stop electronic ND system. They are essentially modern camcorders aimed at working and matching with Sony's existing cinema line of cameras. We've done videos on both the Z200 and the new 85mm, so if you want to learn more about either of them, check those videos out. Lastly, they announced their new ECM L1 lavalier microphone, a new 3.5mm mic that has a small capsule. It can be used with a range of different devices and is available to pre-order now. I'm going to combine Nikon and Red together here, as their announcements could be seen as related. First off, at the beginning of the month, Red announced price drops on the Komodo and the Komodo X. The original Komodo is now £5,070 and the Komodo X is £7,100, which means that the Komodo has dropped about £1,000 and the Komodo X has dropped to nearly £3,000. The OG price drop isn't massive, but £3,000 off the Komodo X will open up this camera to new people looking at getting into the Red ecosystem. The Komodo X is a fantastic camera, and at this price, I think it could make it an attractive option for a lot more filmmakers. We are planning on doing a video about this price drop and where it positions these cameras now, so let us know if you have any questions or things you want us to cover about that in the comments below. Red have worked with Dens to create the premium optics upgrade for the Red Compact EVF. This is a pretty pricey upgrade for the Compact EVF, but it does look like a serious upgrade over the factory optics. It not only improves the overall image sharpness, but also off-axis viewing, and it has an increased diopter range. It also has an integrated ocular heater, which is powered via the 5-pin on the side of the unit. This would be great to prevent fogging up in harsh conditions. Nikon has released a series of LUTs for N-Log that have been made with Red. This is a selection of creative LUTs and a technical Rec 709 LUT for N-Log. This is a cool first step, but I would love to see Nikon implement Red's log curve into their cameras, or maybe even R3D. It's an interesting development for sure, and I'm really excited to see what comes next from this partnership. Canon made their massive announcement for IBC just before it, and that was the release of the C80. We were fortunate enough to get some time shooting with the C80 prior to the announcement, so if you want to learn more, check out our full video on it. But long story short, the C80 shares a bunch with both the C70 and C400. It features the same backside illuminated full-frame 6K sensor found in the C400, can capture 6K RAW internally, has a 12G SDI output and HDMI still, and an improved autofocus system. It has a triple native ISO, can capture clean, detailed imagery, and can shoot a good range of high frame rates. Physically, it's very similar to the C70, but has some minor changes, including an improved LCD hinge design and lock. It's also a very well connected camera. It has internal Wi-Fi, an Ethernet output, and can be controlled a bunch of different ways. Let us know if you have any questions about it in the comments below, and it's available to pre-order now for £5,399 on our website. They also announced a new RF 28-70mm f2.8 IS STM lens. This is a first from Canon, a non-L series constant f2.8 zoom. Canon are aiming this to be a step up from a kit lens, but obviously it won't perform quite as well as the much more expensive L series 24-70-2.8. It has quite a unique design where it can be stored very compactly without the barrel extended, but then when you go to 28mm it extends out, and then as you zoom from there it extends out further. It's a very light lens though, at just under 500 grams, so this could make it quite popular for smaller gimbal use, though the barrel does extend quite a bit. It's priced at £1,249, which for a Canon RF lens is pretty affordable, so should make it a good option for people looking to step up from their kit lens to something a bit better. Zcam had 4 new cameras on display, the f6 Mark II, S6 Mark II, M4 Mark II, and the P2R1. The new E2 Mark II series uses the same sensors present in the original f6, S6 and M4, but puts them inside an updated body. This new body is similar to their Pro series but with a few things missing. These new bodies feature native V-mount support for power, a PoE Plus Ethernet port, Genlock, timecode, and a 3G SDI output. They also have an updated body design generally and feature 9 custom buttons. The P2R1 is a PTZ camera that is essentially their E2Z Plus renamed. It uses a 1/1.3 inch sensor and has phase detect autofocus and auto-framing modes. It can output 4K via IP or HDMI, but only features a 3G SDI output. Details are quite limited about all of these releases, so to learn more I suggest reaching out to us or heading over to Zcam's Facebook group. Up next, Laowa showed off a bunch of new products. First was their new Super 35 zoom, the Ultima 12-120mm T4, which is being aimed at more broadcast orientated productions. We actually had this at a previous event and we were shocked by how small and light it was given its focal range. 12-120mm is a great range, and it being T4 across the range is also really good. Movcam have also created a server unit for it, which is a smart move given that this lens is aimed at broadcast workflows. It has a 29.5mm image circle, features a PL mount, weighs roughly 3.2 kilograms, and has a minimum focus distance of 1 meter. It should be available towards the beginning of next year, and pricing should be around the $15,000 mark. Next, they had their new Sword Cine full frame macro set on show. These are a new range of macro cine lenses that consists of a 15, 25, 35, 60, 100 and 180mm. We've had a loan set of these in for testing for a while now, and honestly they're incredible for the price. Their close focuses are really good, and they perform really well across the set. Some of them are based around existing lenses from Laowa, and some are new. They're available in a few different mounts including PL and a range of mirrorless options. Laowa have always produced excellent macro options, and the Swords are no different. They should be available around the end of the year and cost around $2,000 per lens. Lastly, Laowa showed off some new lenses in their Nanomorph series. This includes large format versions of these nanomorphs. This new set will consist of 32, 42, 55 and 85mm, all of which are T2.9 and have a 1.5D squeeze. They will be available in a range of mounts including PL, are pretty small given their 44.71mm image circle, and will be available in blue, silver and amber flare versions. They also announced their new 60mm T2.9 macro nanomorph. Macro anamorphics are quite rare to find, so this is a good addition to the line. It has a minimum focus distance of 24cm, is designed to cover Super 35, and unsurprisingly looks a little bit longer than the regular nanomorphs do. It's going to cost around $2,000 and be available around the end of the year. Aputure have announced the Storm 1200X, their latest 1200 watt LED fixture. This new light uses Aputure's new Blair 5-colour light engine to produce better quality light while offering greater adjustability. This change to this new light engine system is aimed at producing better quality white light aimed at matching natural daylight and blackbody sources better than traditional LEDs. It also has better low-end dimming, with brightness able to be dialed down to 0.1% without colour shifts. It also features a new clamping Bowens mount that Aputure are calling ProLock. Bowens can be a bit wobbly with larger modifiers, so I think this adaptation is a smart one. It can be controlled all of the regular ways you would expect a fixture like this from Aputure to be controllable. It will have a new range of accessories as well coming for it, and has an IP65 weather protection rating. It's available to pre-order now for just over £3,000. DZOFilm have shown off their new B set of their ARRI Cine Primes. This new set consists of a 14mm T1.9, 21mm T1.4, 40mm T1.4, 135mm T1.8 and 180mm T2.4, bringing the full set to 10 lenses. This fills in the set quite nicely now, and given their image quality and feature set, they are excellent for their price. If you want to learn more about the original A set of focal lengths, check out our video looking at them earlier this year. The new focal lengths are available to pre-order now on our website in a range of different kits. They also showed off their Chimera C series of lenses, which they are releasing under their Thypoc brand. These look really small considering their image circle and T-stop, and they only weigh around 400 gram mark on average, which will make them really popular for smaller configurations. At launch there will be a 21, 28, 35, 50 and 75mm, all of which are T1.5 and will be available in E, M, RF and L mount. Optically they share the same performance and character as their Thypoc stills counterparts. They are priced at just under £1,000 per lens and are available to pre-order now on our website. Let us know in the comments if you want us to check these out when we can. Blazar, formerly known as Greatjoy, have been causing a stir with their Remus and Kato series of affordable anamorphics, and they have just announced more focal lengths to their Remus series. This new B set consists of a 35 T1.8, 50 T2, 85mm T2.8 and 125mm T4, all of which cover full frame and have a 1.5 times squeeze factor. This brings the set to 8 focal lengths in total now, which is a good range to have, and they are all available to order now. At the show they also showed off a new series of full frame 1.33 times anamorphic lenses called Apex, which pair cinema workflow mechanics with autofocus motors, which sounds pretty insane. It's exciting to see a company do this, as it's something that we haven't really seen done before with anamorphic. I can't wait to learn more about these as I think they could be very popular. IronGlass have announced their next lens project, their Soviet medium format set of cine lenses. With cameras hitting the market with larger than full frame sensors like the GFX100 II and URSA Cine 17K, the demand for medium format cinema glass is going to increase, and this set is looking to take a range of medium format lenses and house them in IronGlass's really well put together cinema lens housing. At the time of this announcement, there will be 7 lenses in the set, using a mix of different glass. This isn't a simple rehousing though, as IronGlass are really enhancing the original lens's quality while making them more robust and tailored for cinema style shooting. They have also improved the close focus performance over the original lenses, which would be a welcome change by cinematographers. It's great to see more medium format cine lenses coming out, and with medium format cinema cameras becoming more accessible, I think we will definitely see more sets like this in the future. However, if these are anything like the IronGlass Mark II Soviet set, I think they could be very popular. If you're interested in these, drop me an email via the details in the description below. Earlier this month, Sigma announced 2 new lenses, the 28-105mm f2.8 DG-DN for E and L mount, and the 10-18mm f2.8 DC-DN for RF mount. We created a video about the 28-105mm f2.8 earlier this month, so if you haven't already, check that video out. However, long story short, it can produce nice, sharp, clean imagery, has minimal chromatic aberration and smooth focus fall off, which for this style of lens is exactly what people will want. It's priced pretty reasonably as well at £1,399 and is available to pre-order now. At IBC, Sigma showed off a new concept lens based around the 28-45 f1.8. What makes it unique is that it is a cine lens that also features autofocus. The 28-45 T2 features a new design unlike any other cine lens Sigma have made before. On this prototype, the markings for the aperture, focal length and focus are mounted on the top, which is ideal for solo operators. When in manual focus, the focus is consistent even though the lens is still focused by wire. So unlike the still's counterpart where if you change the speed it will change how far you're pulling focus, it's consistent regardless of speed. I really like the look of this lens and I really hope Sigma produce it, and hopefully some more in this style. I for one would love to see a 24-70 or even the new 28-105 in this style. Fingers crossed we see more about this lens as soon as possible. Accsoon has announced their latest wireless video set, the CineView Master 4K. It has a claim range of 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles and an end-to-end latency of 25 milliseconds. And if both of those are true, those are some seriously excellent specs. It's supposedly very reliable, and given that it was working at IBC, this could be the case, as a trade show is one of the most difficult places to use a wireless video system. It is tri-band, is built from solid aluminium, has removable antennas, and can be powered via NPF, DC input, and even V-mount with the correct adapter plate. It has a range of inputs and outputs and can handle up to 4K 60 transmission, but only over HDMI. The SDI is only 3G, so is limited to 1080p. It can be connected to a bunch of ways, including via USB and over Wi-Fi using Accsoon's C app, which now has the ability to record rushes within the app, which can then be shared via FrameIO's camera to cloud. Given its spec, it's priced pretty well, at £405 for individual RX or TX units, and £775 for a TX RX set, all of which are available to pre-order now. Cooke announced the SP3 18mm T2.4 Cine Prime last week, and we managed to check it out before the announcement. The image the SP3s can capture are gorgeous, and the 18mm fits into the set perfectly. It combines the Cooke look with an incredibly light, compact and solid housing that is consistent across the set and is designed for the modern mirrorless mount camera landscape. At close focus, the lenses pop and corners can get very interesting, especially wide open. It's a great addition and matches the rest of the SP3 set really well. It's available to pre-order now by itself or in a new 6-lens kit, link to which is in the description. Metabones announced a new collaboration with LC Tech to create a Metabones EF to E mount adapter that features an electronic variable ND inside. This variable ND has a range of 2 to 7 stops, which can be controlled in half-stop increments. It's powered by the camera's mount fully, and can actually be switched to a clear filter if you don't want any ND, which is really cool. It's available to order now for $599, and I'm hoping we can get a PL variant too. If you're an E-mount camera owner, let us know in the comments whether you're still rocking EF lenses at all, or if you've switched fully to native E-mount glass. Atomos have announced a few new things. First off, they have dropped the price of the Ninja Ultra to $649 and Shogun Ultra to $999, which will last until the end of October. Up next, they announced that the Shinobi 2 will feature the ability to control autofocus with a range of cameras with a free upcoming update. At launch, this will support the Sony a7 IV, Canon R6 Mark II, Panasonic S5 II, and Fujifilm GFX 100 II, with more cameras hopefully coming in the future. I'm really hoping this comes to the FX30, A7S III and FX3 quick, as these are arguably some of the most popular cameras that I can see this monitor being used with. I can't wait to test this out, so if you have any questions about it, let me know in the comments. They also announced the Shogun Classic, which takes the place of the Shogun 7. The Classic features a 7-inch touchscreen panel that has a peak brightness of 3000 nits, 4 SDI inputs with individual ISO recording in a range of formats, and 2-channel XLR input and output support. It features all the regular tools and functions you would expect from an Atomos monitor, and with the 4 SDI inputs, you can switch between the different feeds using the monitor and record each feed independently. It's available to order now for $999. Atomos have updated their Ninja phone that they announced earlier this year with support for recording 4K DCI up to 30p via a free update. They've also added support for iPad alongside the iPhone 15 Pro and 16 Pro phones. They also showed off a refined version of their Sundragon LED light that they announced at NAB. It's more flexible now and is available in 2 different versions, a diffused version and a bare one. The photometrics look good and it can be controlled a few different ways, and it's available to pre-order now. SmallHD announced the new Ultra 10, a 1920 by 1200 10-inch monitor that has a peak brightness of up to 2000 nits. It's packed full of features thanks to it sharing the same Page OS as SmallHD's previous monitors, Teradek RT overlays, and has an IP54 waterproof rating. It can be controlled via touch or via the tactical buttons along the bottom, which include 4 custom function buttons and 4 programmable encoder knobs. It features ARRI, RED and Sony camera control, 6G SDI and HDMI 2.0 inputs and outputs, and the option for built-in wireless video. There aren't too many 10-inch monitors on the market, so this does look like a nice option. It's available to pre-order now for just under £3,750. ARRI have announced the SkyPanel S60 Pro. This is going to slot in between the original classic SkyPanel and the SkyPanel X in terms of price. It uses an RGBW light engine but runs the newest software from the SkyPanel X. It features an integrated power supply, is 20% brighter than the Classic, and features updated wireless and wired control abilities. Some legacy accessories for the Classic will work with the Pro as well. It's not IP rated like the X, and that's because ARRI are aiming these more at studio and broadcast production installs where that's not necessarily needed. They also released SUP 2 for the Alexa 35. This contains support for the Alexa 35 Live system, support for the Cine license upgrade for Alexa 35 Live, offers the full Alexa 35 feature set to Alexa 35 Live cameras, adds support for the new Tally Light module, and a range of smaller updates and bug fixes. It's available to download now on ARRI's website. SmallRig announced a few new things for the show. This included new cages for the R5 Mark II and the Film MOV case for the iPhone 16. They also had the Tribex tripod they developed with Potato Jet. We have one in our studio now and it feels very solid, and once you get the knack of it down, it's super fast to deploy. At the show they announced 2 new LED cob fixtures, the RC100B and RC220 Pro. The 100B is a 100 watt bi-colour fixture, which unlike other fixtures in the RC line doesn't have a battery built in. However, it can be powered via the V-mount plate on the back, via other batteries with the correct adapter, or their new grip via USB-C. Overall, this is a nice looking power solution. The 220B is a new version of their previous 220 fixture, but with a reworked shorter body design. They are both available to order now. Lastly, SmallRig have collaborated with Film Riot to create a new multi-tool. It features locking points for the different tools, which is a nice touch. Tilta had a few new things on show. This included a new Arca height adjustable 15mm lightweight support base plate. This uses the Arca and Dovetail standards and can have its height adjusted for different configurations. They also showed off their new Hydra Alien Mini arm system. It has a max payload up to 1 kilogram and is aimed at being used for smaller camera systems like the Pocket 3, action cameras and smartphones. It will be usable with a few different mounting solutions, including their electronic or regular suction cups and a clamp system. It's going to be priced very reasonably at less than $150 for the regular suction cup package. Just before IBC, they announced a new mini V-mount plate, which now has a PD-capable USB-C port and a 2-pin LEMO on it. They also had a few concept projects, like their own production cards and an electronically controllable ND filter built into a standard matte box tray, which is a collaboration with LC Tech. Just prior to IBC, DJI announced their latest drone, the Neo, and the DL mount 75mm f1.8 lens. At just £169, the Neo is aimed at people wanting a drone that is super simple to use, incredibly small and lightweight, and can produce good looking video and stills for social media. It can be controlled from the drone itself via a smartphone and even with an optional controller. It actually doesn't need to be connected to a phone or controller at all to work. you can just use the drone itself. Its half-inch CMOS sensor can capture 12 megapixel photos, stabilize 4K video up to 30 and 1080p up to 60 directly to the internal 25 gigabytes of storage, as well as record low-quality versions to your phone. It has a range of different modes that harness the power of AI, which you can control on the drone itself or via a smartphone. These are Follow, Droney, Circle, Rocket, Spotlight and Helix. And of course, you can control it manually as you would with a normal drone. It has a flight time of around 15 minutes on a single battery, decent enough range, and is built pretty well. We've crashed it a good few times, and thanks to its design, it's still flying like new. It's a cracking little drone considering its price and size, and I think it's going to be popular for travel, content creation, and really just with anyone looking to have some fun with a drone. It's available standalone for £169 or in the Fly More combo for £299. They're in stock and available to order now. The DJI DL 75mm f1.8 lens adds to their existing series of DL mount lenses for their Inspire 3 and Ronin 4D. The DL mount lenses aren't really the go-to for Ronin 4D users, but for the Inspire 3, something a bit longer like the 75mm will be a good option now for drone operators wanting a more teddy look to their footage. It's available to order now for £1,295. At the beginning of the month, GoPro released two new cameras, the Hero 13 Black and Hero. The Hero 13 Black is their flagship camera. It can capture 5.3K 60, 4K 120 and 1080p 240 with the option to push those frame rates even higher in a burst slow-mo mode, where you can get up to 400 frames per second in 720p and 120 in 5.3K, but just for a limited time. It also features the new HB series of lenses, which are essentially lens converter attachments for different effects and situations. This includes NDs, wide angle, macro and anamorphic adapters. It has an improved battery life over the 12, new HLG profiles and a new magnetic mounting and power system. The Hero is their entry level and smallest offering. It weighs just 86 grams, has an interesting mounting system, is waterproof up to 16 feet and has a streamlined menu design. It can shoot 4K up to 30, 2.7K up to 60 and 12 megapixel stills. They both feature a very similar level of connectivity, stabilization and overall user experience. They are both available to pre-order now, along with a bunch of new accessories for them as well. MiniFab, formerly Full Frame Camera Co, have released a battery plate ecosystem for the C400, which is clearly inspired by the plate they made for the previous generation of Cinema EOS cameras. Right, let's get into our quick-fire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description. Adobe announced Premiere Pro and After Effects 25, as well as showed off their plans to implement their Firefly video model and OpenAI into Premiere Pro. Aputure showcased their virtual Kona technology. Ancient Optics announced the Series 65 of 9 cinema primes that all have an image circle larger than 60mm. Ingenue showed off their glimmer, uncoated and vintage preset optics for their Optimo Prime series. Anton Bauer released the Quad 6A multi-voltage charger, available in a range of mounts. Apple have announced their latest series of iPhones, the 16, 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max. There's some pretty decent upgrades here for iPhone filmmaking and photography. Astera announced the Lunar Bulb accessory kit. Birdog released the X4 Ultra PTZ camera, their latest NDI 4K 60 capable camera. C-Motion announced the Seagate, which enables L-Bus over IP. Data Light showcased their Lightstream flag system and two new eFlex surfaces. DoLens showed off their new 21mm and 110mm APO mini primes. Elgato announced the Stream Deck Studio, a rack-mounted version of their popular Stream Deck, and a larger version of their teleprompter. Hawkers announced their VL MC-F3 battery plate, which features a USB-C output. Holyland released the Solidcom C1 Pro roaming hub and showed off their upcoming Cosmos C2 wireless video system. IDX announced their CinePower HV160B 28.7 volt 153 watt-hour B-mount battery. iFootage released the Shark Slider Nano 2 motorized slider. Iodine have announced a new series of portable SSDs called the Pro Mini. LC Tech showcased their new electronically controllable diffusion filter. Leica released a new 70-200 f2.8 as well as a 2x teleconverter for L-mount. Lights announced 3 new focal lengths of their Hugo Cinema lenses, a 66, 75 and 90mm t2.1. Mid49 have announced a bunch of accessories for the C400, C80, Blackmagic URSA Cine and Pyxis cameras. Nanlite announced both the Pavo Slim 240CL and Nanlux NL70 parallel beam reflector for their Evoke series. Next Storage announced a 2TB version of their NPS AS SSD Mini for Atomos recorders. Nissi showed off an upcoming set of tuned Athena primes with very limited availability. Nikon released the Nikkor 50mm f1.4, a sub £500 lens for Z-mount. OWC was showing off their new Thunderbolt 5 Envoy Ultra SSD, their Jellyfish Enterprise Class NAS, and Atlas ecosystem. Panasonic announced the AK-UCX100 4K studio camera and fiber adapter, and the AW-UB50 and UB10 box-style cameras, which look very similar to the BGH1 and BS1H, but with updated spec more tailored for broadcast, multicam and PTZ workflows. Peak Design have announced a new line of outdoor focus products. Polcam showed off a new pan access for their autopod system. Porky's announced the PL5, a 5.4-inch Full HD monitor that features a range of monitoring and shooting functions, and it's going to be priced very well at just $239. Proton showed off their new Flex camera, which separates the system's lens and sensor from the processing via a cable. Rode released coloured ID tags for their NT-USB mini microphone and the Video Mic ME-C+. Samyang announced their new Remaster Slim Lens kit last month, but showed it off at the show as well as made it available to the West. Sennheiser announced the Spectra, their new wideband bidirectional digital wireless ecosystem. Shure has announced both the SM4 XLR mic and MV6 USB microphones. Tokina have added a 100mm t2.9 macro to their Vista Prime series of cine lenses. TV Logic had a few new 9-inch monitors. Tribe 7 have introduced a 17mm t1.9 to their Blackwing 7 series of cine lenses. Vinton released their Visine 360, their new pan-tilt head designed for fixed camera broadcast applications. Viltrox had a mad 42 to 420mm t5.6 zoom with a massive 60mm image circle. Vocus have released a new version of their lens adapters that feature user interchangeable inserts that help control flaring when using different camera and lens combos. Wooden Camera have released their range of elite accessories for the Canon C80. And lastly, Zoom was showing off the LiveTrack L6 audio interface and their recently announced H1 XLR recorder. Let us know what your favourite announcement from IBC 2024 was in the comments below. And if you like the video, please give it a like and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our awesome upcoming content. And thank you again so much for watching.